Stop thinking like a poor person if you want to get rich. You weren't born poor. You were trained to think like one. And the worst part? You were convinced that living with less is virtuous, that wanting more is greed, that investing is only for people who already have money. But the truth nobody told you is this: there's no financial freedom with a scarcity mindset. You can work hard, save every penny, pay for everything in cash, and still be trapped, because the problem isn't how much you earn. It's how you think about what you earn. While you're stressing over the price of milk or waiting for the next Black Friday sale, there are people out there building empires, starting with less than what you have in your wallet today. Yes, less. The difference? Mindset. They don't buy status symbols, they buy assets. They don't scrimp on everything, they invest in things that give returns. They're not thinking just about getting through this month, they're thinking about living free forever. If you still believe that wealth is about luck or inheritance, I hate to break it to you, but that's what school taught you. The system is built for you to settle for less. But you weren't made to just survive, you were made to thrive. In this video, I'm going to show you why thinking like a poor person dooms you, and how to flip that mental switch, even if you're starting from scratch. It all starts with how you think. It's not about how much you earn, it's how you think about it. That's the root of everything. A wealthy mindset sees beyond the present. It thinks long-term, about building something that bears fruit. A poor mindset is always stuck on how much does it cost, and never on how much is it worth. Ever hear someone say, "Oh, I'll buy it because it's cheap"? That's poor thinking. Not saying saving is wrong, but if you only focus on price, you miss the real value and miss out on true wealth. From shopping carts to retirement plans, a rich person invests, a poor person consumes. Want an example? Instead of financing a luxury car, how about using that money as a down payment on a small apartment to rent out on Airbnb? One buys a Rolex that can appreciate over time, the other buys an Apple Watch that becomes outdated in a year. One accumulates silent income-generating assets, the other accumulates status symbols. Most people were taught by school to work hard, seek stability, avoid risk. But nothing grows in your comfort zone. Financial education is missing from schools, and those who learn it the hard way usually learn too late. Not your fault, but your responsibility to change. You have to learn to play the game they never taught you. Opportunity is hidden in problems. People with a rich mindset see opportunity disguised as problems. They look at a crisis and ask, "Where's the money hidden here?" Meanwhile, the poor freeze, blame the government, blame prices, blame the boss. But the rich act. They study, they fail, learn, and try again. They practice mindfulness, being conscious of every financial decision. It's not luck, it's habit. If you want to take the real first step toward wealth, start with your mind. It's that simple. Read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Richest Man in Babylon, or Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Listen to mentors. Stop taking advice from people who are more broke than you are. Because at the end of the day, the difference between someone investing in assets and someone dumping their paycheck on a new phone starts with one thing: mindset. Inflation and money printing. The biggest financial illusion is thinking saving money is safe. Here's a harsh truth: saving fiat, paper money that governments print, is like trying to hold water in your hands. Since 1971, when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard, money stopped being backed by anything real. What followed? A money printing machine that feels like a casino with no limits. And guess who loses? Those who keep cash in their wallets. Inflation is silent but ruthless. It eats your money like termites eat wood. You may not see it, but you feel it. In grocery stores, gas prices, electricity bills. That 200 Brazilian reals grocery basket that's now 350 Brazilian reals. Is your salary keeping up? Probably not. That's when the rich move ahead. They have assets. Real estate, stocks, gold, even oil wells. The poor and middle class. They're holding notes that lose value every month. Literally, devalued money in your wallet. There's an old rule, Gresham's Law: bad money drives out good. When the government floods the economy with fiat, real money, like gold and silver, disappears from circulation. It goes to people who understand what's happening. People who silently store wealth. While some post stories about purchases paid in 10 installments, Others are stacking 1964 silver coins. They know that good money is stored, while bad money is just for spending. Why does inflation hit poor people harder? Because it affects what they spend on most: food, gas, transport, bills. The rich are shielded because their assets rise in value when governments lose control. Every inflation spike is like a bridge from Brasilia straight into an investor's pocket. Who do you want to be? Keeping money under your mattress, or worse, in a checking account, is asking to be swallowed by the system. The game is rigged for you to lose, and if you don't understand, you may toil for 40 years only to find your effort turned into worthless paper. So what's the solution? Assets. But it's not just what you buy, it's what you understand. Because even the best investment won't save you if you still believe the government will always save you. Gold, silver, and real assets. The wealthy don't keep money, they keep value. And real value lies in real assets. Not paper, not promises, but things you can touch and that grow over time. Gold and silver don't ask permission to rise during a crisis. They're the safety net investors run to. A 1964 silver coin could be worth far more than it seems. Not because of shine, but because it's real money, not printed illusion. When you get this, you start seeing the world differently. A Rolex isn't just luxury, it's strategy. It protects you from inflation, currency devaluation, crazy governments printing money. Instead of buying a new phone every year, you could be accumulating gold, even in small amounts. 1 gram here, 1 gram there, and in 5 years, you're holding real wealth. Assets aren't just gold, they're land, real estate, stable companies, your own businesses, even oil wells. Too far out? Not really. You can start by buying a fraction of Petrobras stock or investing in real estate funds through Tesoro Dorito. The key isn't how much you start with, it's starting with a growth mindset. Even 100 Brazilian reals can be the seed of something big. The main obstacle. That voice telling you buying cheap is smart. What not to do? A big trap is thinking you're winning just because you got something cheap. Buying something just because it's cheap is poor thinking. You end up thinking, better a 100 Brazilian real sneakers than nothing. But that sneaker won't pay rent, won't generate income, won't grow. And when money gets tight, you sell it for 30 Brazilian reals on OLX and feel like you made a good deal. That's saving without strategy, and the cost is stagnation. Some spend 3,000 Brazilian reals on a designer bag thinking it's an emotional investment. I get it, but true confidence is not depending on a paycheck. Some buy the latest Apple Watch but can't pay rent, or upgrade their phone every year but don't own any gold. These are consumables with no return. Another big mistake. Spending it all. The classic, I deserve it, at month end. And sure, you do. But don't you also deserve peace of mind knowing you're forging your freedom? Rewarding yourself thoughtfully is fine. But buying stuff you can't really afford? That's being imprisoned by your lifestyle. Rich thinking says, I'll buy this when my assets can afford it. Poverty thinking says, I'll buy now and figure it out later. Debt, friend or foe? Most people fear debt, and with good reason. They were warned it's irresponsible. But what nobody tells you is that smart debt can be one of your most powerful tools. Rich people borrow cheap money and turn it into assets. They don't work for money. Money works for them. Example: financing a property, renting it out, using the rental income to pay it off, and then the asset is theirs. Meanwhile, poor people finance a 70-inch TV and leather sofa. No assets there. Shift happens with mindset. Are you using your money to build a future, or just keep appearances? With a scarcity mindset, even a raise becomes more debt. With a rich mindset, even a minimum wage can be planted into something bigger. The key is mindfulness. Be truly aware of where your financial energy goes. Buying something just because everyone has it is a trap. Investing in something no one talks about, that could be your turning point. You've probably heard, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you're surrounded by people who think it's normal to owe on their credit card, insult financial education, or believe rich people are thieves, what do you think you're internalizing? Change your advisors. Change your circle. Parents, teachers, politicians, they taught you from fear, not freedom. It's not about blame, it's about taking charge. Be the first in your family to say, "I'm going to learn what school never taught." Long-term thinking is game-changing. Thinking long-term isn't just waiting 20 years. It's acting now with a mindset that you're planting something permanent. The wealthy don't chase money. They build systems, buy assets, invest in gold, oil wells, companies. The poor chase salary. The rich chase multiplication. This isn't fanciful talk. It's practical logic. And once you get it, you start seeing the world in a new light. Crises become opportunities. Your call to action. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, is your mind pushing you forward or keeping you stuck? Your answer determines whether you'll keep dreaming of a better life or actually build it. Everything starts inside, but that's just the start. Because now that you know what you need to change, it's time to learn what school never taught. The 3 foundations that shape a wealthy mindset, foundations most people never learn. So be honest with me, are you going to keep thinking like a poor person or start acting like someone born to be rich? You now know the problem isn't your salary, the government, or the crisis. It's how you see money. And since you got this far, something inside you has already begun to shift. The question is, will you ignore that shift or act on it? When you get your next paycheck, what will you do? Buy something that just looks good, or invest in something that brings real value? Will you keep buying cheap and fooling yourself, or learn to use even debt as a growth tool? Because in the end, the world doesn't reward those who work harder. It rewards those who think smarter, who invest in knowledge, accumulate assets, build in silence while others flaunt with maxed out credit cards. So tell me in the comments, which mindset are you choosing from now on? Let's talk. Your journey starts with a decision. And if you want to keep learning how to build your financial freedom with awareness and strategy, subscribe and hit that bell. Here, we speak the truth no one taught in school.